Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. I've titled this video, How to Refuse X-rays at the Dentist's Office, because so many of you were asking about how can you go to the dentist without getting x-rays. Let me share with you, let me know if this happened to you. We've been talking about the dentist, horror stories and good stories. And in my video for you tomorrow, I'm going to bring to you a couple of messages from dentists who are going to share with you a little bit about what's going on in the dental industry. And I thought that was very interesting insights. But here we've got a healthy American. Actually, I'll just read it to you. She says, "Hi, Peggy. I've enjoyed reading your updates since the beginning of the hogwash when one of my liberal friends was complaining about the crazy people in Orange County, California. So I did a little searching and it was you. You and I are of the same mindset. I am about this whole event, meaning the cooties hogwash. And I was so proud to share your website and your newsletters with my friends. I'm sure many of them must have used your suggestions and your resources for exemptions. We also used your website and your exemption assistance for my husband's work. Bravo. I'm so encouraged when I hear of people that stood up for their rights, lived by their convictions, and did not give up, give in, or give over their freedom to the government." She writes, "I just wanted to say thank you for continuing what you do. And will you have a list of suggested dentists that do not suggest fluoride and the unnecessary tests, x-rays, and collections of my personal body fluids?" Remember, I told you in a previous email that there was a woman who said the dentist wanted to keep the DNA and take some swabs. I thought that was really interesting. She writes, "The last dentist I went to was shocked that I told him that I did not want his numbing injection for some emergency repair of an old filling that fell out. And I did not want fluoride. And he was preaching to me about the safety and efficacy of fluoride for so long, I never went back. And he suggested 6 root canals." So friends, this is why I've been spending the last few videos talking about dentists. I am not an expert on dentistry. I'm not an expert on keeping your teeth healthy. I will share with you what I am doing. And I'm going to share with you in this video what you've been sharing with me. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments, of emails, of responses on my Substack, of emails coming in to the website, and also here on YouTube. And I want to thank all of you. I've read them. I cannot reply to everyone, and I cannot share every single one. So I want you to go to the Substack, peggyhall.substack.com, and you can read the wonderful comments. And I've compiled some highlights of tips and suggestions and different things that people are doing. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you, some natural approaches, and also how can you go to the dentist without getting an x-ray. And here is another, I'll share this tip in just a moment about how to keep your teeth healthy. But basically, there are 3 main things that I would say you could do in order to avoid having x-rays. And these come from my Healthy Americans. And one woman said, "I just told them flat out, I can't afford it." And she said they don't pressure her anymore. I think that is a really great response, especially if you don't have dental insurance. Most of us are paying out of pocket. Let me know, do you have dental insurance? I don't even think that's a thing anymore. I paid in the old days, I had a really good dental plan. It was like $12 a month. And I think the cleanings were $35 or something. I know somebody who went to the dentist the other day, got a cleaning, and it was $300. I'm like, did they add a 0 to that accidentally? I mean, it's absolutely astounding. And then I've heard from dentists who say that the dentist can barely cover the cost of their practice. So there's some disconnect there in my mind. So if you don't have insurance, and if you say, I can't afford it, but I would like to get my teeth cleaned, don't you think an ethical dentist would go along with that? I think it's a great approach. Okay. The second thing that I've done, and many of you have said that you've done, is you just delay. You say, how about if I do it next time? And then you're hoping that they won't remember next time. Or like me, I didn't really go to the dentist for a long time, so that wasn't really an issue. So That would be another way, is to say, how about next time? And maybe you can keep going to different dentists and then keep saying next time, next time. I'm not sure if that is a long-term solution. Here's another one that I think would be valid and would be for a long-term solution: to not have to get your teeth x-rayed every 6 months. There was a healthy American who said, well, Peggy, how do I know what's wrong with my teeth if I don't get them x-rayed? Well, that's up to you. Many of us don't want to be exposed to the radiation, even though the dentists are saying it's low dose, it's changed, it's a different kind. Well, I don't know. Why do you need all that done? Can't the dentist look into your mouth and see if there are issues? That's what I would do. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So what about saying to the dentist, I really prefer not to have frequent x-rays. I'm willing to sign a waiver or a piece of paper that is not going to hold you responsible if there is some condition that develops that you think you could have caught in an x-ray. How does that sound? Ideally, an ethical and moral dentist is not going to push back with you on that. And if they do, maybe you need to find a different dentist. That's like people who were saying to me, Peggy, I really want to go to this doctor, but they're making me obstruct my airways for breathing, and it's making it very difficult for me to breathe. And I want to be able to go see this doctor. And part of me is like, why do you want to see a doctor who believes in you breathing your own carbon dioxide and germs? Now, you want to wear the covering or whatever, that's fine. But a doctor should allow you to have that choice as well. So my question is, why would you even want to go to that doctor? Why would you even want to go to a dentist that is pushing these procedures on you? Tomorrow, I'm going to cover a dentist's perspective who says, we're not all bad. And no, they're not all bad. Many of you talked about wonderful dentists. Like I had a wonderful dentist, and sadly, he passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. And his co-dentist, that I saw both of them, but mainly the female, she sold the practice and then retired. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about this flurry of dentists retiring and what might be behind that. What I want to talk about now are your tips for keeping your teeth healthy. So let me share my screen, because this one came in from a healthy American, and I thought it was really interesting. And it sounds so simple and so reasonable. And she says, hi, Peggy, I love your podcast, and I appreciate that. I live in Ontario, Canada. You wanted to know how to keep teeth healthy. Here's what I do. I saw this on a TikTok a long time ago, and it was titled something like, say goodbye to your dentist. That's a great name for a video. The guy said to wet your toothbrush and then dip it in Celtic salt, or I suppose it could be called Celtic salt, and brush your teeth that way. Also, to take a pinch of the Celtic salt and swish it in your mouth for a minute or so. I wet my brush and then I put some fluoride-free toothpaste on it, and I dip it into the Celtic salt, and then I brush. I have had zero problems with my teeth so far. And when I get my teeth cleaned, I have very little tartar when I used to have lots. It has to be Celtic or pink salt. So I guess that's also called the Himalayan sea salt. Salt kills most of the bacteria that causes tooth decay. I do this twice a day or more. Okay, have a beautiful day, Peggy. Let me know, have you ever done that? I think that sounds amazing. Whenever you have some problem with your teeth or some infection or sores or whatever, we're often told to rinse with salt water. So this totally makes sense. Now, I compiled a list of some of your other really great comments here, and I guess I could call this Fire Your Dentist. So natural care for your teeth. Who's Your Daddy says the biggest horror is fluoride. Emily says coconut oil. Also go to your friends, dentists that you know. Free Spirit says xylitol gum post meals helps keep the oral microbiome healthy. Let me know if you do that xylitol gum. I was doing that for a while. I thought that was very interesting. I think it did help with my dry mouth, and also getting off coffee helped with my dry mouth, and drinking more water also helped. And living in Florida, where it's a lot more humid, I'm kind of like an orchid. I need the humidity, so I feel much better in this environment. Sarah says, I never went to dentist. One time as a child, because my parents were poor and they couldn't afford dentists. I have had perfect teeth. I'm 40 years old. I've never had a cavity. I never floss. Now, let me know in a comment, do you believe in flossing? I do it from time to time if I have something stuck in my tooth, but I prefer doing the water pick. It's more gentle. It really helps remove a lot of debris. And I also use a tongue scraper. Someone asked me about that. It is copper. It is from India, and I've had it for over 20 years. I was going to show it on screen, and that's kind of gross. So I'm not going to show you what it looks like, but it's just a tongue scraper. You can buy it online or buy it wherever you like. I've seen them at TJ Maxx, and I use that morning and evening. And I know that that has helped keep my teeth, my gums, my mouth, my breath, and my throat very healthy. So I don't do the flossing that much. Some people have likened it to putting sandpaper between your teeth. Let me know if you do the flossing or not. Rhonda, our moderator, lovely Rhonda, says that pearl powder. She uses pearl powder and coconut oil. I looked up the pearl powder. I had never heard of it before. I suppose that is like a remineralizing the teeth. And I also heard that just chewing lettuce, just like chomp, chomp, chomp lettuce, the minerals also are supposed to be absorbed by your teeth. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds good to me. All right. The Nimble Navigator, I think I might have read this previously, but I wanted to read it again because Nimble says, I'll never go to another dentist again. That was the title of my video a couple of days ago. I won't regale you with my horror stories, but I'll recommend that if you must go to a dentist, find a biological dentist. They are the most up-to-date practitioners. Now, Nimble recommends if you have a toothache, use Crown Wellness chlorine dioxide. Try to say that. Crown Wellness chlorine dioxide. One drop in a small amount of water, swish vigorously around the tooth and swallow. But that is if you have a toothache. So again, I'm not giving dental advice. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm sharing what you've shared with me. I need to say that for YouTube. Depending on how severe, you can do that 3 or 4 times a day. And Sarah says, if you have a toothache, rub organic turmeric powder on your sore teeth and gums. It works after 2 minutes. You probably know that turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory. I used to take turmeric pills. Many people have it as a spice on their food. Some people were concerned about the turmeric turning their teeth yellow. So she recommended that you grind your own powder from turmeric that you buy at the store, I guess. I'm not exactly sure how that works. All right. Mama Bear says, according to Kevin Stock, who is a great dentist on YouTube, so there's a recommendation, cavities are caused by excess carbs in the diet, acidic drinks, and mouth breathing. He talks about how poor nutrition has led to humans developing narrow jaws, so there's not enough room for all the teeth. That's interesting. He also mentions that skulls found from early man died with every tooth in their head. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. Here's another one. Kathy says the deep cleaning that they want to do of your gums, it's really a deep clean of your wallet. I think that's very funny. Marielle says, here's my story. I had a dentist a long time ago who made an error and left what's called a mercury tattoo under my tongue. So I saw another dentist years later who said the mercury should be removed. He removed it, and for a month I had disabling neurological symptoms. He gave me no protocol for avoiding this. So I looked up a recipe on the web to remove mercury and found the cilantro chelation or chelation pesto. This is listed as a detox recipe. Compiled by Dr. Thomas Stearns Lee. She said, as soon as I started that, the mercury was being removed from my body and I was normal again. I have heard of people just using cilantro as a way to detox the heavy metals. All right. Nan says there's a great homeopathic product called Miracle Tooth. It totally healed my hairline fractured tooth. A few good books are Holistic Dental Care and Healthy Mouth, Healthy You. So I'll try to include that in my recommendations in a video a few days from now when I can put all of your recommendations together in one place. So just to summarize, we'll talk about a couple other of these natural things, but what people are avoiding are the excessive x-rays by saying, I can't afford it, I'll do it next time, or I'll sign a waiver. And then people by and large are trying to avoid unnecessary root canals, unnecessary deep cleaning. I can't recommend whether it's necessary for you or not. A night guard, right? The plastic thing that you put on your teeth that might help some people, maybe from your teeth moving, fluoride treatments. And others have told me that they are very cautious about the polishing after the cleaning, that can be abrasive to your teeth as well. So what people are doing, the tongue scraping, the homemade toothpaste like the baking soda, the sea salt, the pearl powder, the Celtic salt, coconut oil, and bentonite clay. Those are the recipes and the ingredients that I've heard, maybe with a tiny little drop of essential oils if you'd like to do that. Oil pulling or swishing the coconut oil in your mouth for several minutes. You probably remember Dr. Chari, who has been on this platform as a guest, and she is an advocate of the oil pulling and the oil swishing. She'll be back on the show later this month. I'll have to ask her about that as well. We're going to talk about microplastics with Dr. Chari when she comes back on. Then the recommendation to cut back on sugar and refined carbs, using clove oil for a toothache. I've heard about that. Of course, those essential oils need to be diluted. Otherwise, they can burn, and you don't want to get any burns on your gums or tongue or roof of your mouth. I like the water pick. I had a Healthy American tell me, be sure to clean that out so there's no mold growing in there. Others have told me you can add a little bit of peroxide, hydrogen peroxide into that, distilled water. Another Healthy American recommended swishing with distilled water in your mouth a couple of times a day. I thought that was a very interesting one I had never heard of. You can also do the peroxide swishing. Most likely that needs to be diluted. And then there is the Celtic sea salt that we talked about. And then there's tooth soap. Let me know if you ever used tooth soap. I ordered some of that years ago and I thought it was great. And it's kind of like your own homemade toothpaste. And it's a powder. So you dip at least the one I had, you dip your toothbrush in the water and in the tooth soap, and then you brush. To me, it did taste a little soapy. So I didn't continue to use that. Those are the main things that I have for you, friends. I so appreciate all of the comments. I cannot read all of them. So please look at my Substack, look at the comments here. I'll take a look at what we've got here in our stream. So grateful to have you on board here live, 2 lives. Oh my goodness. Back to back. Okay. Some people have dental insurance. Okay. That's really interesting. Faithy said, I just told my dentist I don't want any more radiation. I think that's a great response as well. Okay. Oh my gosh. Kathy said that she was married to a dentist for 28 years and left him during the hogwash. He completely bought into it. He ended up in the hospital for a week after he got the cocktail. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Many are saying here in the chat that they're not going unless they really have a toothache. And yeah, I think we have so many shared experiences here. Ray says, I used to love it when dentists would preach to me about the benefits of fluoride. I was shocked that the dentist I went to in Florida asked me if I wanted to have fluoride painted on my teeth. I should have asked whether they had fluoride when she was doing the cleaning. So I think that's another thing to ask, whether or not there's fluoride in whatever cleaning products they are using. Ray again says, I was hopping from dentist to dentist just for a cleaning, but without any x-ray, but I realized I could take care of my own cleanings. Okay. Shop around, look online for local holistic dentist. And I don't know if Ava Moon is watching tonight, but she was in the live stream last night, and I didn't see her comment until the chat was over. And she did mention that her mom had just passed away. So I wanted to offer my condolences publicly. Many did in the chat. She's a longtime Healthy American that has been literally preaching the truth about health and about politics and about our rights. And it's just very heartbreaking. I don't know all of the particulars about her mom passing away, but it may have been related to these tragedies that we are seeing all around us. So Agenda 21 Truth says, my dentist no longer does cleaning, for which I am grateful. I'd like to hear more about that. Are your teeth just checked to make sure everything's in working order? Rachel Rose, hey Rachel, she says, I was using pearl powder and I ran out and I have to use more. I believe a lot of my health challenges are caused by missing teeth and root canals. Ava and others pointed out that your teeth are related to different organs in your body. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but I love learning about natural health and healing. So I definitely will be doing more research on that. Marie says, do you go to the dentist anymore? Oh, you missed my previous videos. Oh, I told you all about going to the holistic dentist that offered Botox and facial peels and the electric toothbrush and everything that you can think of, A to Z. In fact, I had to check off a little box to say that I wanted to decline the facial fillers and Botox and microneedling and all of that. I don't even exactly know what that is. So watch my previous videos. I'll have to do a playlist all about the dentist. Let's go on. Pia says, I got bleeding after cleaning at the dentist. Ray is recommending the root cause documentary. I've seen other people recommend that as well. Yes, I talked about my wisdom teeth. I have a whole story for everybody. The funniest one to me is the dentist washing his hands. Back in the day when they didn't wear gloves, yes, there was a time when doctors and dentists did not wear gloves, believe it or not. And he's washing his hands, and then wipes them on his smock and picks up the dental implements to look in my mouth. I was shocked. I was stunned. I was young, and I literally probably had my mouth open, so he went right in. It's a funny story. I came out of it all right. So I have lots of those funny stories. The unnecessary root canal and then some. Friends, what I love about our community is we are looking for solutions. We are looking for ways to live healthy lives, to live fully and freely. This channel is called The Healthy American because it's health in our mind, our body, our spirit, our soul, our intellect, our social circles, everything. It was so repulsive is the word that comes to mind to me back in 2020 when the powers that shouldn't be, including your governor, who had no authority to tell you to stay home, was telling people to not go outside and exercise, to not get sunlight, to not breathe oxygen, to not be in their social circles, to not go to work, to not do your normal things that actually keep you healthy, because health is not just a matter of your physical condition. And your mental, your emotions, your spiritual health, all of that is interrelated, especially in our social connections, which is why I love our community here. And we're here to support each other, encourage each other, share these tips and ideas. And I often am a little taken back when people say, oh, that's negative. I don't know how talking about reality is negative. This is not a doom and gloom channel. There are plenty of channels out there that have clickbait headlines. I do try to have titles that are kind of curiosity builders so people want to learn more. But oh my gosh, this channel is like the least negative channel in the whole biosphere of YouTube. So I credit you for adding to this stream of positivity that we have going here. And I just want to applaud you for that. So thank you to the moderators. Thank you to all the healthy Americans. Stay tuned for my video tomorrow where I'm going to talk to you from a dentist's point of view. I have a couple of dentists that wrote to me. I'll be sharing 3 emails from dentists and a couple more of your personal stories. And then as I have time and resources allow, I will try to compile some of the more compelling recommendations that you have made regarding your wonderful dentist. So we'll end on a happy note. Thank you, everybody. Remember the tooth fairy? How about that? You would get, what would you get? A quarter, a nickel, a dollar under your pillow for a tooth that came out. That's kind of an interesting aspect to dive into. I guess we could do that as well someday. All right, friends, signing off now. Thank you for being on board, and be sure to share this video. I'm so grateful that my previous one was shared. It's got several thousand views, and I'm so honored to be able to make an impact, a healthy impact, a positive impact in other people's lives. Thanks to you sharing, commenting, liking, and subscribing, and being a part of our Healthy American family. Losing my voice here, friends. I'll sign off for now, and I'll see you in tomorrow's broadcast.